more issue before we move on in terms of what was said and transpired at the funeral. We have MPs that want to table a bill that will make autopsy tests public of prominent persons. But other than that, in as far as what killed Fidel remaining unknown, and you have the Governor Mombasa County earlier on in a clip having to clarify some of the sentiments he made on, you know, perhaps saying certain hands were involved in the death of Fidel. You have Ogenga Oburu at the funeral also said that he believed it was a human hand that was involved in that. In terms of politicians and leaders just coming out to make this kind of statements, and we saw that as well after Kajwang died, Badi in a press conference seemingly also appearing to just suggest it was foul play. Do we need to be having that, Henry? Do we still need our leaders to understand that this is an issue that could go south when there's more and more proclamations that seem to suggest that it was foul play?
One, I think it's very wrong. It's only in Kenya that politicians become experts on the causes of death. This only happens here, that politicians all over the place choose to be the ones directing even what autopsies ought to find out. And that, for me, is a very challenging problem. But two, that the issue of autopsy reports, that is personal information to the family of the bereaved. And we ought to clearly understand that unless it is a public official and died in the course of duty, that information ought to be given to the family, and the family has the ultimate decision whether they would like to make it public or not. It cannot be that politicians, sometimes very far-fetched from the family, would begin to say what killed somebody even before an autopsy report is out. But having said that, I think there are certain deaths, say if the president, God forbid, or the deputy, or other senior government officials were to die in the course of duty, the country is owed an explanation. Not perhaps all the details, as we wanted to get them in Fidel's case, you know, having traced his way around to the minute details and now waiting for that report. I think the Odinga family should get that report. Okay. It is their report. If they make a decision to make it public, that is purely a family issue.
All right.
But I shudder because politicians want to run with this. I hear them saying that they want to pass such a law, but we have big public inquiry reports. They've not made public. Some of them are still sitting in parliament. That's when you begin to see why they politicize things and do not think about the bigger public interest.
All right.
Okay, I think we'll move on to something else now. And
just before we move on, I think that issue about making autopsy reports public is extremely intrusive. I think it's just, even in terms morally, it's not right.
You feel it's a family affair?
I think the public must be, I mean, the family, you know, once you die, you become a private person.
Prominent people, though.
I think it should be a discretion that is left to the family. I think it would be extremely intrusive.
But you see, there are questions raised, and
the thing I have issues with, the thing I have issues with is to jump to conclusions.
But people will jump into conclusions if there are no answers. That's why people speculate whenever that
let me tell you,
is there.
Let me be honest with you. If the cause of death is something that the family feels is an embarrassing issue, for instance, you know, there are those who have died of certain causes that we know of, overdose of some sexual something of that. And I think it's important to protect the privacy of people. So to put a legal caveat that you need to make it public, it could be a situation that, you know, you do not want the family of the deceased person to live with. So I think it's just not right to intrude to that extent.
Okay.